What if I told you? There's a country that was once called the murder capital of the world, but today it has become one of the safest places on earth. What if I told you that two of the world's most feared gangs, MS-13 and Barrio 18, who once ruled the streets, are now trapped behind the same prison walls? And what if I told you that all of this was made possible by one man, a president who declared war on crime and changed his nation forever? This is not fiction. This is the real story of El Salvador.
Pasamos de ser literalmente, no es una exageración, no es una hipérbole, literalmente pasamos de ser el país más inseguro del mundo a ser el país más seguro de todo el hemisferio occidental.
For decades, El Salvador was feared worldwide. Murders, extortion, kidnappings, everyday life was a nightmare. Families were forced to pay protection money to gangs just to survive. The gangs, MS-13 and Barrio 18, controlled neighborhoods like their own kingdoms. Even the police were afraid to enter. Imagine living in a place where walking down the wrong street could cost you your life. But in 2019, something happened. A young president stepped into power. His name? Nayib Bukele.
La fuerza del Estado debe de usarse no para violar derechos humanos, para garantizar los derechos humanos de la gente que nunca se le defienden sus derechos humanos. ¿Cuál es el principio? Cuando dicen todos los derechos humanos tienen la misma ponderación, no es cierto. El derecho humano más importante es el derecho a la vida. Todos los demás derechos no sirven si no hay derecho a la vida.
Bukele's story is as unusual as his politics. Of Palestinian descent, the son of a man known as the Imam of El Salvador, Bukele wasn't a traditional politician. He was young, modern, tech-savvy, and he promised change. And change came. In 2022, after a brutal wave of killings, Bukele declared a state of emergency. Police and soldiers flooded the streets. In less than 2 years, over 64,000 suspected gang members were arrested. But there was one massive problem. Where do you put tens of thousands of the world's most dangerous criminals? The answer was CECOT prison, a mega prison unlike anything the world had ever seen. 8 cell blocks, the size of 8 football fields, a capacity for 40,000 inmates, guarded by 600 soldiers and 250 police officers, surrounded by concrete walls 15 meters high, barbed wire, and 19 watchtowers. The government made one thing clear: escape is impossible. But this prison wasn't just built to contain criminals, it was built as a message to the entire world. Entering CECOT is like entering a military base. Multiple checkpoints, fingerprint scanners, advanced facial recognition cameras. Guards check every detail, even down to socks. This is not a place for rehabilitation. It's not a place for second chances. This is a warehouse for violence, designed to hold the people who once held a nation hostage. Inside, prisoners wear plain white uniforms. Lights are never turned off. They don't know if it's day or night. They sleep on cold beds without blankets. They eat beans and rice. Nothing more. Every inmate is allowed 30 minutes of exercise per day. The rest of the time, locked inside a crowded cell. Here, the infamous gangs MS-13 and Barrio 18 are crammed together. Enemies for decades, now forced to share the same cells. Their tattoos tell the story. Skulls, graves, numbers, every marking a reminder of the lives they destroyed. Police use these tattoos to identify gang affiliations. Some tried to remove them, but they failed. The ink speaks louder than words. Imagine men who once controlled entire cities, now reduced to numbers in a prison registry. And if they step out of line, they're sent to solitary confinement, a dark, empty cell No light, no visitors, food pushed through a slot in the door. 15 days of silence. One inmate, an MS-13 member, admitted he killed 30 people. 30 lives ended by one man. Now, he says he cries every day. He regrets his choices. But it's too late. He joined at 11 years old. By the time he realized, he was already a killer. But here's the shocking part. Bukele's strategy worked. El Salvador, once the most dangerous country on earth, is now one of the safest in Latin America. Murders have dropped dramatically. Families can walk the streets without fear. Businesses no longer pay taxes to gangs. In 2019, Bukele's approval rating was just above 50%. In 2024, he won re-election with 85% of the vote. Why? Because for the first time in decades, the people felt safe. But this story isn't without controversy. Human rights groups have accused the government of wrongful arrests, lack of due process, and harsh treatment. So the question is, do the ends justify the means? Should a country sacrifice certain freedoms in exchange for security? Some call Bukele a hero. Others call him a dictator. But one thing is certain. He has changed El Salvador forever. So, what do you think? Is Nayib Bukele a visionary leader who saved his nation? Or is he a dangerous example of how far governments can go in the name of security? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. And if you want to see more stories like this, don't forget to subscribe, because sometimes the most unbelievable stories are the ones happening right now.